Doer Jeans is opening a store right here in Portland later this month, and if you haven't heard of them yet, let me tell you, they make stylish, comfortable clothes that are designed for a full day of living, from commuting to work to hanging out after. And you can try them out for yourselves now because CityCast Portland listeners get 15% off your first order. Just mention the code CCPDX for your in-store purchase, or you can go online at shopdoer.com/CCPDX. That's shopdoer.com/CCPDX for 15% off your first order. Portland Art Museum's new exhibit, Global Icons, Local Spotlight, contemporary art from the collections of Jordan D. Schnitzer, is running now through January 11th. You could see more than 65 works by celebrated artists of the 20th century, including Andy Warhol, Helen Frankenthaler, Ellsworth Kelly, and Robert Rauschenberg. This will all be on view through the opening of PAM's new expanded campus, which is happening on November 20th. Kids 17 and under are always free. Grab your tickets now at portlandartmuseum.org. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the latest court ruling surrounding Trump's troop deployment into the city, the warning coming saying we're overbuilding public high schools, and what a recent city audit says about the Portland Parks Bureau and their upcoming ballot initiative. Joining me are Willamette Week reporter and author Brianna Wheeler and our very own executive producer, John Notarianni. It's Friday, October 17th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to the Friday News Roundup. Brianna, John, thanks for joining me this morning.
Hey, good morning, Claudia.
Good morning.
Brianna, I love whatever's happening right now. You got some pink going on. Your background is pink and white. It's looking good.
I'm a menace when it comes to being just completely surrounded by pink.
Okay.
Pink everything.
It looks good.
Thank you.
Well, before we jump into the news, I usually ask our guests an opening question so our listeners can get to know them a little better. And today's opening question is actually related to a contest that CityCast Portland is holding with Pivot, a local property and management company. They own and manage some of the most beautiful and historic buildings downtown. And currently they have 5 spaces that they're asking our listeners for help reimagining. We have a link in the show notes for submissions. If they pick your idea, you win a prize, and also you get to have your idea come to life, which is, I think, a lot cooler. Here's a quick rundown of all 5 spaces and what they're currently zoned and permitted as. So there's roughly 4,700 square feet of floor-level retail space in Portland's historic Grand Stable and Carriage Building on Southwest 2nd Avenue. This one has like soaring ceilings, multiple entrances, private offices, a flexible layout. Right now, it's my current favorite because of its history. It's literally where they would keep the horses and carriages in ye olde Portland. There's also the entire second floor of the Broadway Commons building. It's just over 8,000 square feet. The building is also right on the corner of Southwest Broadway and Southwest Oak. We also have nearly 10,000 square feet of retail space at Southwest 5th and Alder. It's ground level. It's wrapped in expansive windows, so it's like super light filled. Very tall ceilings. This one is just 2 blocks from Pioneer Square and the future James Beard Marketplace. There's also the entire second floor of the 620 building, which is nearly, 20,000 square feet, and it's spanning half a city block. Its expansive floor plan provides flexibility for large-scale offices, creative studios, collaborative workspaces. There's a lot of options there. And finally, there's the entire 5th floor of the 620 building, which is about 7,400 square feet. This one's a little limited because currently it is fully built out and furnished for office space. But it's right in the heart of downtown Portland, just 2 blocks from Pioneer Courthouse Square. So those are our 5 spaces. And I know a lot of you are going to jump straight to housing, but here's the deal. If you're a longtime listener, you know that most of these spaces are not able to, snap of the fingers, be turned into housing because they're just not retrofitted for human living. There's just not enough plumbing for the required bathrooms or kitchens needed, and most are not up to code with our current seismic requirements. So if you're thinking housing, you're also going to have to think around all those limitations. So my opening question is, what would you turn one of these spaces into?
Well, thank you for asking, Claudia. I'm so glad that you're coming to me with this because I am the authority, obviously. Okay, we are taking over the Grand Stable and Carriage Building, all right? We are turning it into an indoor amusement park for adults.
Nice.
Right? We've got a dance club for olds, right?
Okay.
We're just playing the hits, the greatest hits of the 90s and the early aughts, okay? The dance club closes at 10, so you can be at home in bed by 11. There's a crafting floor where you want to go and just make crafts quietly with your homies. You could do that. There's a coffee and couches floor where you just like sip coffee and read books quietly and nobody will bother you. And then roller skate disco in the basement. And if there's room, a trampoline park also.
I'm loving this. And Brianna, I don't know if you know, but this building is really close to the waterfront. So I think it just like expands that vibe of like, yeah, we're just hanging out.
Totally.
I really love it.
Portland, hear me, fund this.
And John actually has a few submissions we've already gotten from our newsletter readers and listeners, and he's combed through and he's picked a few of his favorites. So lay it on us, John.
Yeah, we got so many ideas already that are like really exciting. The first one I want to bring up is from Gabby P about the Grant Stable and Carriage Building, the same place that Brianna was just talking about. Here's Gabby's idea. In the early 1900s, Horn and Hardart Company had a place where city workers could quickly and efficiently get lunch. They were called automats. Think if Elephant's Deli and the vending machines had a baby. Coin-operated machines, cakes, sandwiches, pot pies, just quick and simple. So they're saying, let's bring some automats back to downtown Portland. You could have a rotation of local chefs and restaurants who operate out of it. You can have the food based on holidays or seasons like Chinese New Year, Cinco de Mayo, etc. And then the leftover food could get donated to food banks or homeless shelters. It could be a unique nod to a lost business model of the past and a place to sit during your lunch break, a study spot, a cool tourist location, and a community hub. And Gabby actually works downtown. So Gabby's speaking from personal experience of wanting more options here.
I've always wanted to go into one of those places. I do worry, though, because I'm like, but why is it a lost business? Do you know what I mean? Like, why is it a lost business model, Gabby? Like, they look so cool.
Yeah. Speaking of like wild business models where it's like, maybe it would work. I was really taken with this one from Rebecca H. Looking at the 5th floor of the 620 building. That's the one that is built out as office space. Rebecca says, a nap palace. There are so many times when, as a resident or a tourist, you just need a little downtown in the middle of the day. It would be a place with chill lighting, a bunch of couches, sofas, beanbags, etc. No talking, no funny stuff, just naps.
I love it.
Rebecca acknowledges, yes, there are several ways this could end in disaster, but with good oversight, I think this would be amazing.
I actually kind of love it. Like a recharge zone for people downtown. Like literally, like they're like, I need to plug my phone in. I need to use the restroom. I need to just sit down. I love it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, we want to hear your ideas. You can submit them. There's a link at our website, portland.citycast.fm. We want to hear more.
Awesome. How many submissions were there?
We've gotten like 50 submissions so far.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So yeah, the ideas are a-flowing. There's a ton of great ideas in there.
Brianna, if you want to officially submit yours, I think it's a great idea.
I want to fold in the nap palace into my plan.
Okay.
I think that there needs to be a napping floor.
I'm going to send you the link because I want to see this idea. Oh, man. On to the news of the week. So I'm actually kicking things off today with a quick recap of what's been going on since we last checked in with the ICE building and Trump's federal troop deployment. And since we last checked in on Wednesday, we're still awaiting ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals Thursday morning. They already ruled last week that the federal government had the power to federalize our and other states' National Guard, but we're still waiting if the initial order to block deployment of these troops into Portland by Oregon U.S. District Judge Karen J. Immergut will stand. Now, something she ruled back on October 4th was that, hey, these troops can't come in. But since her initial temporary order was running out, she went ahead and extended it. So as of Wednesday, we now have 2 more weeks that we don't have to worry about hundreds of National Guard being sent into Portland to protect the ICE federal building from a smattering of protesters in silly blow-up costumes. So here's the deal, though. A ruling can come from the Ninth Circuit Court at any moment, and if they block that initial restraining order, Judge Immergut said she would likely dissolve it and the extension that was just given this Wednesday. To complicate the matter and further confuse us all, even if they decide to overturn her ruling, the federal government has not yet challenged Immergut's second and broader temporary restraining order, the one barring the deployment of any National Guard troops into Portland. She had to do the second one when Trump decided to start mobilizing National Guard from California and Texas after Emmergut initially shut down Oregon's National Guard from being deployed. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a really quick turn of events, meaning the process to resolve the second order could still delay any deployment of troops in Portland. So where does that leave us? On hold, once again, waiting, pretty much held captive emotionally and mentally by the Trump administration.
Spiritually.
Yeah, which I remind you guys, this is what they want. They're trying anything and everything to distract us from releasing the Epstein files because they know what's in them. Senator Wyden had just gotten a new bill together back in September that would force the U.S. Treasury to turn over the Epstein files. And then later that month, bam, the Trump administration tried to fabricate a war in Portland. It's not a conspiracy, guys. It's actually what happened. And I feel like we're losing sight of this every passing day. Meanwhile, the ICE and federal agents in the Southwest Portland ICE building are escalating. And this Sunday, they arrested the clarinet player from the unprecedented brass band, which is the brass band in banana suits. I'm sure you've seen them. That frequently perform during peaceful protests near the ICE building. The Oregonian reported that federal agents barreled into the band while pursuing another suspect. They were like across the street in a gravel pit or something. And the band was playing the Ghostbusters theme as this all happened. In the skerfuffle, they somehow pinned and arrested a 38-year-old child and family therapist in a banana suit holding a clarinet. Oriana Coral was detained at ICE and then taken to the Clark County Jail. There's video of the arrest, and none of it shows any probable cause. She was in custody, you guys, until Wednesday.
Oh, my God.
From Sunday to this is a mom with a job, you know?
Yeah.
So another thing that happened is on Tuesday, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson told the press that he had not seen federal law enforcement cross the line yet. But instead, he was like, but did you guys see all of those naked bike riders? And he basically, no joke, said the most threatening thing I've seen yet was the naked bicyclers in Portland who were protesting ICE down there. I mean, it's getting really ugly. And that was said without irony. Before I share even more about what's happening, what do you guys think?
Tell me you've never seen a naked body without telling me you've never seen a naked body, bro.
Do you think he's a never nude? Do you think that's what's happening?
I think he is a never nude. I think he's a virgin never nude. And he's embarrassed about it. Like, just fucking own it.
This is it just feels like we are in this perpetual game of like keeping the ball in the air, you know? It is unrelenting. And Claudia, to your point, that is the point. That is the intention here, is to have this be a sort of unrelenting force. And it is tiring, but I'm also really kind of energized by the energy of the protests and like all of the sort of resourcefulness and whimsy and strange optimism that we're seeing going down there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that the clarinetist, as they were releasing her, when they interviewed her, she was asked, like, are you going to continue protesting? She's like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
I mean, she was just like, oh, no, now more than ever. You know, it just shows the spirit. Like, weirdly, we just get angrier and more naked. And people should really take this to heart.
And sillier. I saw, it's like LA, we'll fight you. Chicago, we'll fight you. Portland, we will make you watch interpretive theater. We'll put you in our experimental improv troops.
The scariest thing of all.
Oh my God. It's so true. Okay. So another thing I was looking into, you guys, is the ICE building. You know, recently the city was trying to basically legally get it shut down in so many words. They found out through means that they were holding people for longer than 12 hours, which is what is supposed to be the limit there. Because again, we're a sanctuary city. So the landlord of that building that houses the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility asked for an administrative review of that land use violation notice that the city gave them last month, which effectively pauses this enforcement, which is really odd. So it seems that they have until Friday to basically submit information that it wants the city to assess. But it appears that the landlord of the ICE building doesn't want ICE to leave. So Yeah, so there's that now, but we're going to follow that because now I'm interested. I'm like, what is going on? At first, to be honest, I thought this was very like ceremonial. I'm like, I don't know if this is anything's going to happen, but I'm glad that the city's doing something. But now I'm just like, oh, okay.
Well, speaking of city involvement, I'm really fascinated by what the city council did on Wednesday night, which they voted unanimously, which if you've been following this city council, unanimous votes are few and far between, but they voted unanimously to pass what they're calling the Protect Portland initiative, a number of efforts to sort of push back against immigrant crackdowns and the deployment of National Guard troops. And there's a lot in here. They want to task city officials with gathering information on federal enforcement activities. So like make it the city's responsibility to keep an eye on this. Create rapid response plans for immigration raids. Push the police bureau to strengthen its own separation from federal immigration enforcement. And requiring all 7,000 city employees to get training on our city's sanctuary policies.
Yes.
Knowing the difference between administrative versus judicial warrants, knowing the difference between public versus private spaces. It's a whole lot of stuff that they just pushed through unanimously to sort of try and find a way as a city to push back on this stuff.
Yeah. And those who listened to our midweek roundup heard Julie and I talk about that and, you know, how it was up for vote. So now we know that it did pass through. And the fact that it was unanimous, pretty awesome.
Wild.
Nice job, guys.
Hey.
That was for the city hall, by the way. Nice.
Oh. I thought it was for us.
What did you guys do? You're like, thank you. And I'm like, John, what? Jesus Christ. Nice job, you two, John and Brianna.
Thank you, Claudia. Nice job, you.
Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more headlines of the week. Freem Family Brewers has opened up a second location in Milwaukee just south of Portland, so you no longer have to make the trek all the way to Hood River just to get to their 20-plus taps of award-winning beer. They've moved into the historic Milwaukee City Hall building right into the old firehouse, and I hear they turned the old fire pole into a fully functioning tap. I would like to see that. Plus, this new location has 3 bars with seasonal cocktails, in addition to all the harder-to-find Freem beers. My go-to is the Japanese lager, and they're serving practically the same menu as their Hood River location, so you know their food is solid. I recommend anything on the menu that has their house-made beer cheese. It's so delicious. Freem Milwaukee is open daily from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can see their full menu at freembeer.com. That's PFRIEM beer.com.
You've probably heard that downtown Portland has a few more empty storefronts than most of us would like. Have you ever thought up a big idea for a way to help downtown thrive? Well, now's your chance to bring it to life. Pivot Property Management is teaming up with CityCast Portland to launch a design contest, and they're asking for your boldest visions for businesses or community spaces to fill 5 of their downtown spaces. All through October, we want to hear your best ideas. Maybe it's a seasonal pop-up for the holidays, a short-term community hub, or a brand new business ready to make a long-term impact in downtown. From practical solutions to pie-in-the-sky dreams, this is your opportunity to shape the future of our city. Submissions are open through October 19th. You can learn more about the properties and share your idea using the form linked in today's show notes, or head to our website at portland.citycast.fm.
This episode is brought to you by Mubi, a global streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema. On Mubi, you can stream beautiful hand-picked films anytime, anywhere. And right now, you can stream Lurker, a sharp psychological thriller and the directorial debut of the Bear and Beef writer-producer Alex Russell. It follows a 20-something retail clerk who crosses paths with a rising pop star and slowly worms his way into their world. As the line between friend and fan blurs, access and proximity turns into a matter of life and death. You can watch Lurker and so much more exclusively on Mubi, and the best part, you can try it for free for 30 days on us. Just head to mubi.com/citycast25. That's mubi.com/citycast25. All right, John, you looked into parks.
Parks. Nothing controversial about parks. They're beautiful. They're green, right? What could ever go wrong in a park? Well, coming up on November 4th, we all have a ballot coming for a special election. There's basically one major thing on the ballot, which is the renewal of the parks levy. This is replacing a levy that passed in 2020, funds a whole ton of stuff. Maintenance tasks like daily restroom cleaning or trash pickup or routine repairs. Accessibility programs like free and discounted recreation for low-income families, and also environmental tasks like tree planting or trail and habitat preservation. It does a lot of stuff, but this is going to be expensive. It's going to raise the existing parks levy by 75%, which means that a median homeowner would pay about $310 per year or $26 a month. That's about $11 a month more per household per month than what people are currently paying.
Damn.
If we don't pass this levy, the park's operating budget could literally be cut in half, which would mean like major service reductions, right? So this is a big deal coming up in a few weeks. Well, we just got a new audit from the city auditor's office saying that the park system is basically running on an unsustainable funding model. That Portland Parks and Rec, it does not have long-term financial plans to be able to maintain its existing infrastructure. They say that nearly 90% of the facilities at city parks are in poor or very poor condition. It could cost between $500 and $800 million just to bring them up to what they call a reasonable standard.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And their audit says that like this backlog is so bad that like some assets will still fail even if this new levy comes through and future funding is secured. And the reason that the audit gives for this problem is because the Parks Bureau has been relying on systems development charges, which are basically fees that can only fund new construction, not upkeep or maintenance. The city's been building new parks, neglecting to take care of existing ones.
Sounds so familiar.
And this maintenance crisis has been snowballing. I know, it's so frustrating. And the thing that they point to is the old commission style of government, right? Where there were bureaus and like individual commissioners could sort of push through pet projects to get them built without having to worry about the long-term funding for these things.
Oh my God.
I know. The audit notes that these decisions that were made over the past decades were susceptible, this is a direct quote, susceptible to political pressure rather than based on system-wide needs.
I feel like this audit could literally be cut and paste to nearly every department. With roads, with everything, we're like, oh, we can't maintain. Because we've created so many new projects, so many, like you said, it's because commissioners, these were their pet projects, or because we're just like, yeah, more, but we can't actually sustain what we've built. And to me, this is why we're getting to the point, the breaking point with taxpayers, where they're just like, more?
Right.
You need more? And what you just stated, John, is, guys, even if we pass this levy, what John is saying is they're an empty black hole where money needs to go in. So it's not just going to be this levy we need. We're going to need more levies. It's just like never ending unless they figure out their financial dealings right now. They got to like reconfigure how Parks and Recs is running.
Yeah.
Because it's not running sustainably is what I'm hearing. And that's basically all of our departments. At the end, it's going to be like 5 homeowners just being like,
the Claudia Meza Memorial Park that she is paying for the low price of $2 million a year, Claudia. you could.
I don't even make $2 million. They're just like, figure it out. Do you want a park?
I do want to say that, like, you know, obviously I front loaded the doom and gloom, but the audit does have a number of recommendations for how to sort of right the ship. You know, it says there needs to be a long-term financial plan for the park system with clear goals for the level of service the city wants to provide. Seems reasonable. Figure out how to pay for upkeep before starting new park projects. Ding, ding, ding. So maintenance costs don't pile up. And sort of coming up with a list of priorities of which parks and projects should come first based on overall needs and being upfront with the public about what the Bureau is doing to save money and manage costs. And like so far, City Administrator Michael Jordan, the interim Parks Director Sonia Szymanski have both agreed to adopt all of these recommendations. Current city leadership is like, heard, yeah, we're going to get to work on this right away.
Oh, good.
That's great news.
This is great. Yeah, lead with that, John.
I was going to get there.
I was spiraling so hard. Thank you,
Brianna
John.
was crying. I was looking at properties back in California. Could you imagine? I'm joking, you guys. I'm like, man, this fire is hot. Let me go into the cauldron of lava. Sorry. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad. Here's the deal. We all want the city to make sense. And I just really hope that, like these departments are becoming a bit more aware of where the holes are. And I just hope that this trend continues because we need it, you guys. Our city does not have the money for how it was being run, which was poorly, by the way, if you're... Yeah. Can't read between the lines. Poorly.
I mean, among the people who have pointed out and agreed that the past city council bears the blame, former councilor Stephen Novick, who is also a current councilor. He was on the old council and he was like, yeah, that was fucked.
He's like, yeah, we sucked. I'm so glad I'm running the city again, though.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love that. He's like, yeah, we did some crazy shit. We just kept building stuff. It was insane. It's like when people talk about like the 80s and they're like, cocaine everywhere. He was just like, project tape everywhere.
Parks everywhere.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more headlines of the week. Okay, I have the next 60 seconds to convince you to go check out Doer Jeans. You can time me. Are we ready? Okay, go. Doer makes stylish, bike-friendly clothes that are designed to keep you cool, comfortable, and looking good. They're pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing without it looking like boring athletic wear. Like, even if these clothes weren't made with Coolmax, which is supposed to regulate your body temp and wick moisture, you would want to wear them. They gave me a pair of jeans to try out, and y'all, they look good. And they're not harnessing the full power of the sun and directing it straight to my legs like most other jeans do when it's sunny and above 70 degrees. Doer is opening a new store right here in Portland on Northwest 23rd. And CityCast Portland listeners get 15% off their first order. You can either just mention the code CCPDX for your first in-store purchase or go online at shopdoer.com/CCPDX. That's shopduer.com/CCPDX. 60 seconds on the dot.
Hi, I'm Michael Ziviak, Chief Revenue Officer of CityCast. Why do most of us want to learn a new language? It's because we want to speak it out in the real world with real people. Babbel gets you there fast. My daughter's a senior in high school, and after she graduates, we're taking a father-daughter trip to Spain. I know, she's spoiled, but that's on me. I'll be honest, my Spanish right now is pretty much tops out at ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? But when we get there, I want to actually talk to people, order food, and really connect with the locals, not just stumble through the basics. That's why I'm starting with Babbel. Learning a language with Babbel is all about small steps, big wins, and progress you can actually track and feel. And with how busy things get here at CityCast, I love that Babbel's bite-sized, 10-minute lessons fit perfectly into my day, whether it's between meetings or while I'm having coffee in the morning. I'm really excited to start picking up real-world Spanish before our trip so we can experience Spain in a more meaningful way. Right now, Babbel has a special deal for our listeners. Get up to 55% off your subscription at babbel.com/citycast. That's BABBEL.com/citycast for up to 55% off. Rules and restrictions may apply. Gracias and adios.
All right, Brianna, what do you have for us today?
Today, I am bringing some reporting by Joanna Howe over at Willamette Week. Her article is all about the Accountability Committee warning PPS that they are potentially overbuilding high schools. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in March, the paper reported how annual projections by Portland State University's Population Research Center indicated that in 10 years, Portland public schools will only have enough students to fill, hopefully, fingers crossed, 7 of its 9 high schools.
Oh my God.
Okay? So a $1.83 billion school bond ultimately passed with overwhelming voter support, like they do in Portland. And this watchdog group the Citizens Bond Accountability Committee, they're sounding these same alarms. So this committee, they review whether the bond funds are even going toward their assigned purposes, okay? So they presented their report to the school board on Tuesday night, and I just want to share this bullet point. The BAC would like to share the opinion that the district should not be building such large high schools when there is not the student body to justify it, given declining enrollment and decreasing birth rates. This issue is even more pronounced given these project budget issues. So yes, declining enrollment, it has been discussed. It's a problem that district officials they're going to reckon with it this year. And that begets a conversation about whether or not to close some schools. And this is super divisive because school districts in Oregon are paid per student. So declining enrollment equals declining revenue equals subsequent budget cuts. Ouch. Oof. So at an April endorsement interview for the school bond, PPS Superintendent Kimberly Armstrong told The Weekly that if a doomsday enrollment scenario played out and there weren't enough high schoolers to fill the halls, I love if, as if we haven't discussed this into the ground. If this happens, if there's not enough high schoolers to fill the halls, then the district's just going to find a way to repurpose these buildings for other students. Oh, right? Man. What? Okay. So, and then she's quoted as saying, "I will tell you, there is no situation where a newly modernized, community-invested high school will go empty or even be half full." And then she says, "We're working actively to make sure that we can house all our students." So Portland School Board Chair Eddie Wang notes that cost-saving efforts aren't particularly successful because delays mean inflation and redesign costs. And he points out that placing the burdens of size reduction and cost savings on the last 3 high schools up for modernization is unfair. Quote, "Just because Cleveland, Ida B. Wells, and Jefferson came last doesn't necessarily mean they were the ones that should be targeted to be sized reduced." I wonder, though, what lens we will be looking at those schools through when it's time to pay the piper. Chair Michelle DePass reiterates the sentiment that's popular among the supporters of these rebuilding initiatives, that it's unwise to plan long-term builds off of 5-year forecasts. Michelle says, let's build for the future. We have to build schools that will last 100 years. The head of the accountability committee says, I just think it's a concern of cost and scope. I think it's hard to think of the future when we just see costs escalating and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's also my own personal sentiment is, schools that last 100 years? Is America going to last 100 years? Is Portland going to last 100 years? Is the idea of school going to last 100 years? I mean, I don't want to call it a dumpster fire because there's a lot of people working very, very hard and trying very, very hard to keep this system together. But it's held together with fucking bubble gum and popsicle sticks. Let it go. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Am I foreseeing another contest soon to be held between CityCast Portland and this time PPS?
How to fill PPS schools. Your wildest idea for all these empty school buildings.
But guess what? These are seismically retrofitted.
I see Kennedy schools across the cityscape.
Kennedy schools everywhere. McMenamin's is just licking their lips.
Oh, they're coming up.
This just makes me think of 2 conversations we've had on the show recently. I think it was with you, Brianna, when we recently speak about the school board and their not sweat the small stuff, so-called new attitude. And our conversation with Julia Silverman from the Oregonian about Superintendent Kimberly Armstrong standing up to critical opinions, Well, here we go. Here is an idea that is against what the district is doing. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they ultimately absorb it, to see how this criticism, which for the record, looking at the Citizens Bond Accountability Committee, these are people with a reputation for, direct quote, fairness and transparency and experience in building design, construction, public contracting, budgeting, and or auditing, right? So these are building and money people. These aren't parents. These aren't educators, So just because they say, I don't know if this is the best fiscal decision, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not the best decision for kids.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you're not in school? Aren't you glad you're not in high school right now? God. I wonder if high school will still exist when my kid is ready to go to high school. Honestly, these are the questions I'm asking.
Yeah.
What is school? Are we looking at this right? Are we using old math to try to figure out problems that were created by new math.
I just love that Brianna's like, do we even need schools, you guys? That's where we landed with all this. Oh, man. Well, we've been talking about this for months and months and months, how this has been already in the works. People have been like, hey, we have too many high schools, not enough students, and not because our schools are bad or whatever. It's because literally not enough kids physically exist in the world to fill these high schools. So, I mean, at a certain point, you just have to go, yeah, we have too much school, not enough kids. Figure that out, you guys. Let's stop paying for it. All right, whatever. Well, thank you so much for going through some of those headlines with me. John, let's go through some shout outs before we head out.
Claudia, I would love to go through some shout outs. One of the perks of being a paying member of CityCast Portland is the opportunity to shout out a local business or an organization that you love. And we've got a couple. I want to start with one from Jim T, who wants to shout out Blue House Fitness. This is over by your place, Claudia. A great North Portland gym that uses CrossFit methodology to help people focus on longevity and health.
Nice. Rachel H wants to shout out Pollo Bravo. Not just for meat eaters, their radicchio salad and Basque cheesecake are awesome. I've never had their Basque cheesecake.
Ooh, Basque cheesecake?
I love Pollo Bravo. I will say, when I'm having like a hell of a week and I know that I'm gonna like just not be able to cook for myself, I'll get like the giant full chicken and sides from Pollo Bravo and know that I'm gonna have like reasonable food for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Yeah.
Well, I got one more from Kendra P, who wants to shout out the Flea Zorcus on Northwest Saltzman Road. Artist Ken Zell has transformed part of Forest Park into an incredible surrealist art installation. It's a joy to drive or bike through it on your way up Lower Saltzman into the park. Ken is keeping Portland weird, and I'm here for it.
Oh, I want to go see the Flea Zorcus.
Doesn't that sound awesome?
That does sound awesome.
Oh, I'll see you there.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go.
Well, shout out to everyone who shouted out. Thank you. And a huge thanks to everyone who joined our recent membership drive, including Rachel M., Fernando C., Nicholas G., Tori C., Alina C., Amy J., Maya P., Beverly R., Kevin B., Cindy F., Debbie R., and Kelly Joy K. Is that really their name? Kelly Joy?
Kelly Joy.
Will you get back to us? Is it Kelly Pause Joy? That's your middle name. We just did this wrong. Or is it Kelly Joy? I need to know now. Portland at citycast.fm. So when you join as a Portland neighbor, we'd also be happy to read out your shout outs, the places you love. You can join at membership.citycast.fm. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, going through some of the headlines this week. And thank you to everyone listening. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. There's going to be more protests this weekend. Maybe we'll see you there.
Maybe.
John, maybe. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Claudia.
Maybe.
Thank you. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. Our podcast production team this week was John Notarianni, Julia Fiaioni, Laura Satsui, Zoe Colkin, and myself. Our Hey Portland newsletter editor is Rachel Monahan, and our host is me, Claudia Meza. Original music by Jenny Conley and Stephen Drizos. Additional music by All the Kimonos, as well as Sarah the Instrumentalist, Timothy Infinite, and Gregory David, courtesy of Epidemic Sound. We also have music by Opal 99 and D-May, courtesy of Triple Scoop Music. We'll be back Monday morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.